he was dropping his Supreme Court challenge to January's election results. So let's speak now to governance expert Godber Tumushabe, joining us by way of Zoom. So Bobi Wine now says that he was concerned about the composition of the judicial bench that was named to hear the election petition. Your thoughts on this latest development?
Yeah, so I believe that Bobi Wine had a very legitimate concern. And that is true with everybody who approaches the Ugandan judiciary, because the judiciary has an inherent weakness in itself, in the sense that for President Museveni, who has been in power for 35 years now, he has literally appointed every judicial officer, mainly the judges and magistrates. Each one of them has been appointed by President Museveni, and Bobi Wine was proceeding against the president, and therefore, in law, we have a common principle that justice should not only be done, it should also be seen to be done. So if you are approaching the current judiciary, the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court, the High Court, for justice, you have to bear in mind that the men and women whom you are appearing before have been appointed by the same man whom you are proceeding against. And therefore, I fully understand the concerns that Bobi Wine raised. But having said that, I also watched one of the episodes of the hearing where the Chief Justice, actually, one of the persons that Bobi Wine complains about specifically, was really appeared very hostile to Bobi Wine's lawyers and team, but also started citing some of the social media discussions that had gone on about the case. And I think that was unfortunate, because the judiciary shouldn't be conducting business in that manner, relying on social media discussions.
Right. I mean, many, though, say that this could just be a political statement, because he says he's going to withdraw the petition, but hasn't formally done it yet. We have the judiciary spokesman there who did speak to the media, saying they'll only respond to Bobi Wine when he formally withdraws the case through his lawyers. Do you think this could merely be a political statement?
I doubt. I mean, if he did it as a political statement, I think it would be baloney, because litigation in a case involving presidential election is an important litigation process. You as the candidate, you are not only the one litigating, you also, in the case of Bobi Wine, you have close to 3.5 million supporters who voted for you. So that petition is not only yours, it's also for those people who supported you. So I don't think that you can make casual statements about whether to proceed or withdraw the case. So my view is that as a politician, he definitely makes a statement in that regard. And I would want to consider it serious. And therefore, I expect that his lawyers will be taking the necessary procedural steps to be able to withdraw the case from the Supreme Court.
Right, so in his case, he was asking the court to overturn the results of the election on several grounds, among them widespread use of violence and outright rigging. Museveni, on the other hand, has dismissed these allegations, calling the election the most cheating-free election, in his words, since independence. What remains of the allegations of human rights violations against innocent Ugandans?
My view is that President Museveni lives in a state of denial, and because if he thinks that the elections was not going to be rigged, was going to be cheating-free, then he would not have shut down social media and the internet to create a blackout, to allow his men and women to be able to execute the levels of violence that they did. This election was probably the most violent of all the elections since we have had since 1995, when our new constitution was promulgated. Mm-hmm. In this particular election, we had over 100 people executed, most of them executed on the streets of Kampala by the security forces, basically killed extrajudicially. We had over 1,000 young people either arrested and imprisoned in different jail houses across the country. Mm-hmm. And we also have others that are still missing. This is the first election where we have had numerous cases of kidnappings and disappearances that if both the president and the Minister for Internal Affairs and the police bosses have actually acknowledged that they are Ugandans who disappeared. That's not the kind of election that is envisaged under our constitution. And I think anybody within the current regime should really be embarrassed that exactly the same things, the same reasons that President Museveni gave going to the bush in 1980, where he fought a war for 5 years in which more than 500,000 people died, are exactly the same things they are doing today. So whether Bobi Wine went to court or not, it does not remove away the fact that this has been a very violent election and totally undesirable for a beautiful country like Uganda.
All right, and lastly, Godber, Museveni has been a Western ally. He has been receiving copious amounts of aid from Western countries, sending his own troops to regional trouble spots, including Somalia. But we have these allies, especially from the West, becoming increasingly frustrated at this crackdown on opposing voices. What repercussions is this likely to have with Uganda's relation with the international community?
Uganda's relationship with the international community, especially the Western world, has been shifting since about 2006. From that time, you could see that President Museveni has been actively moving towards the East, what you'd call the East, establishing relationships with Russia, with regimes like Iran. A lot of training of our police forces have been conducted by North Korea. So the shift has been very systematic and very predictable. And so the Western donors have essentially fed the regime. And I think that they are realizing probably too late that they have fed the monster that is beginning to even eat them the way it is eating most Ugandans. And therefore, I envisage in this case that we are going to see President Museveni dig in, become more hostile, become more belligerent. My reading of the character of President Museveni that he will act more of a Mugabe of Zimbabwe than any other leader who is able to approach the issues that we are dealing with, which are mainly political issues, and therefore seeking to dialogue with Ugandans. And I see the international community as really secondary to the solutions that we need to seek as a country. I think that the solution to Uganda's political problems, because the problems we have in Uganda are mainly political. The legal is really besides the point. So I think that Ugandans are going to eventually come together and confront the political problem that we face. And therefore, we should be able to see as Ugandans taking charge in terms of solving the problems. I only see the international development partner as really as a side show and side players.
All right, so many thanks. That is Godber Tumushabe. He is a governance expert, giving us his views there on the unfolding situation in Uganda. Now, Kenya is battling some of the worst locust plagues in decades, but